coming from Grantsville. Bill, he has a question about something the Constitution says. Bill, you're on the line with Senator Lee.
Hi, Senator Lee.
Hello.
My question is about judicial activism and how the Constitution might provide a remedy for judicial activism and how that might be done.
Okay, thank you for your question. Judicial activism refers to the process by which judges will sometimes rewrite the law. Their job, of course, is to interpret the law, not to make it. It's the job of the legislative branch or Congress to make the law. It's the job of the judicial branch to interpret the law where people disagree as to its meaning. Sometimes judicial activism arises when a judge decides, hey, I don't like this particular law, I wish I could remake it. And so they imagine some reason why they want to make it unconstitutional, and then they just declare it to be unconstitutional, providing some type of explanation. Judicial activism exists whenever people invalidate a good law that is not unconstitutional and pretend that it is somehow unconstitutional. It's important to remember that judicial activism is no more defensible than judicial passivism. Judicial passivism exists where a court refuses to invalidate a law that is unconstitutional and just looks the other way. Both are equally bad. So what we really need are judges and justices who will interpret the law as it's written rather than interpreting the law as they wish it were. And there's no easy way to require that in many instances. And one of the reasons why we worry so much about judicial activism and judicial passivism is that once they've stepped in and declared something to be a constitutional mandate, it's very difficult, it's darn near impossible in many circumstances to undo that without going through the difficult process of amending the Constitution. That's why the best we can do in many cases is to, number one, be careful for who we vote for president. The President of the United States enjoys enormous discretion in nominating judges. Number two, you need to watch out for who you elect to the United States Senate. We in the Senate are called upon to review each and every person who's nominated to serve in a judicial office in the federal court system. It's a substantial part of my job. It's something I take very seriously. And every single week, I'm reviewing people who have been nominated to judicial office. I look at their background. I look at things they've written in the past, things they've said about the rule of law. Just yesterday, in fact, I voted against someone who President Obama had nominated to fill a federal district court position. I did so on the basis of that nominee's writings that, in my opinion, reflected a certain lack of respect for the law and an inclination toward the type of reckless behavior you've described.